Welcome back to Donington Park, where thick fog has left the race organisers, the BRSCC, with no choice but to delay the start of the meeting by over 4 hours. It does, though, give one or two a bit of extra time to fix their cars, including Ian Jordan, whose Clio has sheared a wheel nut and lost one of its wheels in race 1. But for his Class D rival Dave Pearce, it had been a much better race, securing 3rd in class.
Yeah, the race yesterday, I enjoyed it. I had good fun, had a good battle with some of the Seats and the Subarus, and that's what this championship's all about. You know, there's so many cars, so many different levels of cars. You just have fun wherever you are in the grid or whatever the pace of your car. You always find someone to race with.
The delay also gave some drivers time to reflect on another competitive season, not least Ilse Cox, winner of this year's Class B championship title.
The season's been fantastic. There hasn't, unfortunately, been as many people in Class B during the course of the year as I would have liked to actually race against. But I've had some fantastic races against other cars within Class A. I've quite often been at the top end of the field, which I like to be. And I just come out in the Euro Saloons because I know it's going to be a good championship to have some good racing in. That's more important to me, really, than class victory.
Racing drivers don't give up easily. A case in point was Ian Froggatt. He'd been quick in the first race of the weekend, but it had also been an eventful day for him.
Made a bit of a mess of it yesterday, spun in first corner, but after that recovered. I was doing all right. I spun again and snapped a drive shaft, so just a matter of just limping back, just finishing race. Took it back home last night, got it repaired and back again this morning and try again.
Andy Roby won Class C in the first race of the weekend, but with damp qualifying, a dry first race and now cold fog, setting up the car properly had been a challenge.
Yesterday morning it was really slippy, couldn't get any grip whatsoever. Made some alterations for the race, which were obviously a lot drier, a lot more grip, a lot more pace, but then obviously some settings weren't quite right for them conditions from morning, so this morning's anybody's guess. If we get out to race, it'd be a different story.
Thankfully, the fog lifted just in time for racing to get underway, although all the races would be cut short. Having won race 1, Gary Preble gets pole position for race 2, with Andy Robinson starting alongside after their terrific battle in the first part of the weekend. Dave Cockell and Wolfgang Reip will line up on the second row of the grid. OK, then after a couple of laps behind the safety car, the race is about to get underway. On board with Andy Robinson, he led 3/4 of the first race of the weekend. Can he convert this into a victory? Well, Gary Preble is alongside him. Gary's unlikely to make the same mistake twice. It's colder than it was on day 1. He went off the road through the first corner on cold tyres on that occasion. He's a bit more tentative this time, which means he's got Andy Robinson right alongside him. Andy with the onboard camera in the big Ford Falcon goes through Hollywood but has to give way eventually, and Gary Preble does get the lead of the race. Dave Cockell is behind them in 3rd place. Here's Ilse Cox, who went very well, finished in 7th place in the first race, but she loses a position to Keith Butcher, who finished 9th in the Ginetta in the first race of the weekend. There's Ian Froggatt, number 19, having a great start to the race in the Subaru Impreza. He's alongside Chris Boone. These two drivers were charging through the order in the first race of the weekend. Chris Boone made up loads of places and finished just outside the top 10. On board now with Andy Robinson as he climbs uphill into the braking zone for McLean's corner and gets right onto the tail of the race leader, Gary Preble. They're absolutely nose to tail. That's on the way through Coppy's corner, and just behind them at McLean's and the rest of the field, the Mazda RX-7 of Steve Putner, notice, has made up lots of positions. Wrestling the wheel here is Chris Boone, and that's one of the Nissans slowing down with a problem, and I think it was Wolfgang Reip who went so well in the first race of the weekend. Look at that rocket, the pocket rocket, the Lotus Elise of Rex Stamp. That was another car that went well in race 1 but had a DNF. You can see in the background the Nissan going very slowly, but at the end of lap 1, here come the leaders. Gary Preble, Andy Robinson, Dave Cockell in the mix as well, the 3 fastest from race 1, and Andy Robinson goes around the outside and goes for the lead of the race, but he just runs too wide there, taps back in behind in 2nd place, and now Dave Cockell is going for 2nd place. Contact! They run into each other through Hollywood, make contact, they both go off the road, bang into the barriers, bang into each other, and that is a huge impact. Dave Cockell still spinning down the damp grass down out of Hollywood corner. Andy Robinson tangled up in that, and Andy went for the lead of the race, ran wide through Redgate corner and then came under attack from Dave Cockell, and then the pair of them came together, and it means Gary Preble has got a massive lead in this race, on board with Ilse Cox in the Seat. She's lost a couple of places at the start of the race. She's got Ian Froggatt breathing down her neck now. She's lost a place to this driver, Rex Stamp, who's made an absolutely fantastic start to the race. Oh, that's good to see both drivers getting out of the cars. And the marshal's quick on the scene, doing a terrific job, going over to Dave Cockell now to make sure he's okay. But he's got out of the car on his own accord. So has Andy Robinson. And after a big smash, that's a relief. But they're waved yellows. And yes, that's not really a surprise. The safety car is going to come out. They're off the track, but they're not far off the track. And they're in a precarious position. Now, because of the fog and all the delays this weekend, all the races have been cut short to 12 minutes anyway. So a prolonged period behind the safety car is really going to eat into the time here, and they're not going to give them any extra laps because it's such a tightly packed timetable. The BRSCC done a fantastic job to get any racing underway with the huge fog delay that they couldn't do anything about. So this is going to potentially cut short the race. Gary Preble's got the lead. Derek Palmer up to second place, having finished 6th in the first race in the Nissan Primera, and that was Wayne Schofield behind in 3rd. And we've got 2 Nissans in the pits now, both of them 71 Mark Schulzinski, the Russian driver, and 73 Wolfgang Reip, the German driver. Now we're going to get a replay. This is the incident that caused all the safety car. Andy Robinson goes for the lead at the end of lap 1, around the outside, gets his nose in front, but he just can't keep it on the track. Then he covers off his line. He's down to second place. Dave Cockell pounces and gets semi alongside him. And I don't think Andy saw he was there. I don't think Andy realised he was there. Turned into Dave Cockell. This is from a different angle. And Dave wasn't fully alongside, but you can completely understand why he went for the gap. And I just don't think Andy saw him. Turned in. A racing incident. Damage to both cars. And then even more damage when they run into each other on the grass. Front really caved in on the Ford Escort Cosworth. And at least 2, maybe 3 corners of the big white Ford Falcon have taken a hit as well. But the main thing is that the drivers are okay. Right, here's a replay on board with Andy Robinson. This is him going for the lead around the outside. Brave stuff this, after a terrific tussle with Gary Preble in race 1. Tried it on, actually got the lead for a brief second, then ran out. Gary gets him back and wait for the impact. There you go, bang, on the way into Hollywood Corner. Screech of tyres, makes contact and spins with the Escort Cosworth, then a huge impact with the barrier. And look at the damage to the front of that Ford Falcon. The Escort's been towed away, so we're going to get back underway fairly soon. There's Mark Schulzinski coming out of the pits now, trying to get back onto the tail of the train. We're going to get a replay, and that was Schulzinski slowing and almost being collected there by Ilse Cox. Then we got the RX-7 of Steve Putt running into the other Nissan there just to the right. So that was why that other Nissan went into the pits. Ian Froggatt gets past at the same time. So there's lots of drama going on. This was the main drama though. Those cars have been shifted and we are going to get underway here, but I think there's only going to be 1 lap of the race to go. So it's going to be a proper sprint race this. Yes, the safety car peels in and Gary Preble then leads them back up to speed. So Gary Preble leads the way. Derek Palmer in second. A really good restart this by Gary Preble. He's not really under too much pressure. Wayne Schofield there in 3rd place. Alex Sidwell in the Holden Commodore is 4th. Rex Stamp from way down the field is in 5th place. There is Ilse Cox. He's still in the top 10, still in 7th place, but with Ian Froggatt, the Subaru Pretz, number 19, breathing down her neck. He's another one that's come through the order, having repaired the car overnight. In between them is Keith Butcher in the top 6 in the red Ginetta, coming down through the Craner curves now. It's a great little battle going on here, but unfortunately we're not going to have too much of it because there's less than a lap left to run in the race. Alex Sidwell then going great guns. Made a terrific start to the first race of the weekend and got a good solid 10th place finish in the end, but he did run as high as 4th at one point. There is the leader. Derek Palmer, you know, he's catching up with Gary Preble. He's not going to have many chances to get past. There's Dave Pearce, who's looking to secure another top 3 finish, maybe even a winning Class D. Getting out of shape there is the Honda Civic of Chris Boone, who's charging up the order as quickly as he can. He's got Andy Jordan right behind him. 2 different classes, but very evenly matched, those cars. Down into the chicane then for the final time. It's going to be Alex Sidwell. He's not going to get on the podium. Wayne Schofield ahead of him is going to secure 3rd place. Who's going to win it? It's going to be Gary Preble. Gary Preble, for the 2nd time this weekend, takes the checkered flag in a very shortened race. 2nd place, great drive from Derek Palmer, and we might have had another terrific tussle had it not been for the fog here, cutting the race short. So Gary Preble wins, Derek Palmer is 2nd, Wayne Schofield rounds out his championship winning campaign with 3rd, then it's Alex Sidwell, Rex Stamp and Keith Butcher rounding out the top 6. Let's hear from a couple of our class winners now.
It was very confusing, everything that was going on out there. It was quite a horrific crash, but we were all ready to go home with the weather. But it was nice just to get out and have a quick run round, and I nearly beat Nick, which is my objective for the year.
In terms of the championship, how have you found it this year? What have been your highs and lows?
Low, hitting the pit wall at Anglesey, having to rebuild the car. Mainly just getting a bit quicker and being able to keep up with the newer Clios, because I drove one of the old Clios, so the car's capable of it, and I'm getting quicker.
Of course, the big talking point was that crash between Andy Robinson and Dave Cockell. Thankfully, both drivers unharmed, and we caught up with them both in the paddock.
Coming into Redgate, Andy went really wide in the Falcon, and I sort of got a reasonable line through the corner. And I was alongside him as we were approaching Hollywood, and I think right at the crest, he obviously didn't realise I was alongside him. He turned into me, which spun him round, and then after that, we ended up on the grass somehow. And that was history. Once on the grass, speed just seemed to pick up. No control over the car at all. We did it a couple of times on the way down, but we ended up in the wall at 2 different places.
Basically, I'm going down the Craner curves and I got tapped from the rear and around we went, so not a good way to end the season, unfortunately. Dave wouldn't have done it on purpose, I know that for sure, but I don't know. He says he was alongside us, but he was somewhere there, but I thought he was behind us. But anyway, we had a bit of a tap, then we were both passengers after that.
What sort of damage was done to the car?
Absolutely loads. Front, rear, sides, back, top, bottom, inside out.
Well, the important thing is you're okay anyway.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've got something to do all winter to rebuild that.
So that's it from Donington Park. It's been a fantastic weekend of racing, befitting of the series, really. Well done to all of our race winners, to our class winners, and of course to our 2012 champions. That's it from Donington. Thanks for watching.